Hey, yo, hey, I'm an addict named Austin. I got clean here at Serenity House in Abilene, Texas on October 19, 2014. I hope y'all have had a blessed week. I hope you have a good weekend. I jumped on here to read the Just for Today with y'all. April 18th, I understand. We humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Once we are entirely ready to have our character defects removed, many of us are entirely ready. Ironically, that's when the trouble really starts. The more we struggle to rid ourselves of a particular defect, the stronger that shortcoming seems to become. It is truly humbling to realize that not only are we powerless over our addiction, but even over our own defects of character. Finally, it clicks. The seventh step doesn't suggest that we rid ourselves of our shortcomings, but that we ask our higher power to rid us of them. The focus of our daily prayers begins to shift. Admitting our inability to perfect ourselves, we plead with our higher power to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves, and we wait. For many days, our program may stay on step 7. We may experience no sudden, total relief from defects, but we often do experience a subtle shift in our perception of ourselves and others. Through the eyes of the 7th step, we begin to see those around us in a less critical way. We know that, just like us, many of them are struggling with shortcomings they would dearly love to be rid of. We know that, just like us, they are powerless over their own defects. We wonder if they too humbly pray to have their defects removed. We begin evaluating others as we have learned to evaluate ourselves, with an empathy born of humility. As we watch others, and as we watch on ourselves, as we keep watch on ourselves, we can finally say, I understand. Just for today, God, help me see through the eyes of step 7. Help me understand. Man, I can identify with this reading, right? There's just been some defects in my life that that no matter how much pain and anguish they caused me, no matter how much clarity I had before I acted out on them, no matter how much shame and guilt and how many amends I made afterwards, I just couldn't get rid of them, right? And I can remember being in the grip, being beat up by my realization in step 6. And the good thing about this step working process is it gives you a lot of information, right? I can't really understand what's wrong or what's not, or what's going on if I don't have the information and I'm not aware of these things. And so I'm grateful for step 6 because I became aware of everything that was going on. That's also, like it says, when the trouble really starts. The awareness in step 6 was good, and then I get into step 7. And I'm struggling, right? I remember being caught in the grip, and somebody, a good friend of mine that I was living at his house at the time, and I'm going through this. He's seen me in there marking off all my defects and the ones I've been struggling with, and he told me, he was like, you understand that trying to control because I'm on step 6, and in the step 6 and step 7 progress, part of the step work in progress, my sponsor had me write down the defects that I struggle with, and then like a 6-week and day to day I go through and mark out the ones that I've acted out on that day. And there was some that I had acted out on every day, and I was trying really hard not to act out on those, right? And my buddy he saw me in the grip, and he's like, you understand that trying to control these defects is not the point, right? When you try to control these defects, it's like holding a big beach volleyball underwater. At some point, they're coming to the top. And so that helped me kind of get some clarity and some understanding of what was going on, what I was doing on the inside. And so by the time I got to step 7 and started praying for them to be removed, I was tired of holding that big volleyball underwater, right? What I can tell you is that there was never like this really freeing moment, but in the process of becoming aware and praying for them to be removed, I was able to see things through the lens that it talks about in this reading, and understand that I could wear myself out trying to remove these defects, and that I needed a higher power. And there's just been to be really honest, there's been a few times in recovery, more than a few, that God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. And so I'm really grateful for my higher power, and the times that he steps in, or the times that he did something for me that I didn't even know until I got to it, right? And so I'm really grateful for the step working process and my higher power. It was going to take a lot to get me clean and help me stay clean, right? And even more than that, I want to be more than just clean. I want to have joy in my life and not be miserable, because the disease of addiction wants me dead. If it'll settle for me being miserable, and it'll settle for me being distracted. So I have to be vigilant in my recovery, and that's why the step working process is so good. It helps me stay vigilant and involved and connected and moving forward. And so I'm able to identify with this reading really well. I hope y'all are also. There's some things, just this morning I was having a moment. There were some things I was upset about, and God was like, how do you want your day to go? And I didn't listen, and I went ahead and got frustrated and voiced my frustration with my wife. So there's times whenever, but looking back now, I can see where this whole process played out in my mind, and I had a choice. And never ever were all of my defects removed, but there was just moments whenever God would nudge me and be like, hey, if you don't want this to end up the same way it did last time, maybe think about it first, maybe approach it a different way, maybe not say it. And so I'm still a work in a process. I'm still a work in process, in progress. And so thank y'all for tuning in today. I hope you have a good weekend, Easter weekend. It's also mine and my wife's 1-year anniversary. So we're going to have a good weekend. I hope y'all do as well. And we will see you Monday, maybe Tuesday.